Hey, Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps, and I'm joined now with Caleb Plant. Caleb, it's good to see you. How are you?
Good to be here. Everything's going good. Camp's going good. And not a lot of time left, so it's been good.
All right, so the last time you and I spoke, it was rumored that you were going to fight Canelo. There was also a lot of talk at that point that the fight between the two of you was dead in the water. A lot of people didn't think it was going to happen. There was rumors of it being Beterbiev or Bivol at this point. What sort of happened? What transpired that sort of, I guess, brought the negotiations back to life?
I'm not sure. The first time around, they brought the opportunity to me. They told me my purse and, what I would make. And, opportunities like that, they don't come around very often to fight for the Undisputed Championship of the world, especially in the super middleweight division when there's never been one. So I was all for it. I was ready to go. And I guess, things kept going back and forth and things would be good. And then they'd come back with more. And then things would be good. And they'd come back with more. And it just kept getting so close to the fight. It was like 6.5 weeks out. And so I'm not really sure. It just kind of fell apart. But they said, there is a chance that it could be at a later date. So I always kept that in the back of my mind. I stayed in the gym. I kept working. And regardless, I knew I would have a fight coming up. And but then things came back around, pushed back to a later date in November. But, I was ready. I had been in the gym. I would have been in the gym regardless. So here we are.
The talk was at the time, at least the rumors were that it had something to do with money. Was that at all the case?
I mean, not on my end. I can't speak for anybody else. And, their business between what they had going on. But as far as money on my end, there was never any hiccups or no, I'm not going to fight for that or anything like that. They came to me, they told me what it would be, and I said okay right off the bat. And so whatever, like I said, I don't want to speak for them and Canelo's team and what they weren't able to figure out. But we circled back around. They was able to come to an agreement, and there was never a disagreement on my end. So.
Right. All right, so let's go back to that press conference that I was not at. I was in England, so I was catching all of it on my feed. Y'all threw some hands on the stage there. From my understanding and from what I've gathered of what you said, it came from a big misunderstanding of some sort, right? Like he took, and I don't want to repeat the word, but he took, I guess you could say it, the mother effer word, I guess out of context of how you said it.
No, there was never any miscommunication or anything on that end. No. Just in the fight previous to this one, when he fought Billy Joe Saunders, Boo Boo Andre came in at the post-fight press conference and he was saying, get out of here, motherfucker, I'm gonna fuck you up. And then when he fought Danny Jacobs at the weigh-ins, he was speaking in Spanish and he said something, chingas tu madre, and that means fuck your mother. So he said both previously before he got to me. He said them plain as day. He knows what they mean. So I think he just lost his cool, and then he needed an excuse for why he lost his cool. But he knows what both of those sayings mean. And so I don't know what his problem was. But it's boxing, things like that happen. It's not the first time that something like that in boxing's happened, and it's not going to be the last time that something like that in boxing's happened. So no big deal.
It's not often you see it. I think it's really a more recent thing with Canelo. You're starting to hear him saying a lot more, speaking in English, cussing a lot more. He's definitely learning them English cuss words, that's for sure. What did you sort of make of that experience with him? Because for the most part, leading up to most of his press conferences, he's always been cool, calm, and collected. What does that say about him going into this fight, you think?
I don't know, something about me ruffles his feathers, I think. I feel like a lot of these guys here recently, they've been there to pick up a check and hand over their belt. And I feel like he knows that he's got someone in front of him who's not just here for a check and not just here to be quiet and hand over his belt, but here to win. And I think somehow that strokes his ego the wrong way, and he's not a fan of that. Not to mention, bringing to light, some of his past issues that he's had. I'm sure he didn't like that, but fucking he ain't gotta like it.
The cheating accusation. I mean, the
accusations.
Yeah.
Those are accusations.
Yeah.
They're accusations.
I mean.
Did he get suspended for 6 months?
Yes, he did.
Okay, so that's not an accusation,
so,
right?
Yeah. His failed tests.
Okay.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah.
Let's clarify.
Accusation. That's like.
Right.
Yeah.
My bad. But let's.
Come on now.
No, you're right.
Let's call a spade, right?
Yeah.
So those aren't accusations. So let's call it what it is.
Do you feel that that's still the case? Do you feel like he still may be?
I mean, I can't worry about that. I can worry about what's in my control, and that's that, we have VADA in place, and that, he's learned his lesson, and, he's going to play by the rules. I don't think that there's any room for stuff like that in our sport. If you play baseball, if you play basketball, if you play football, you may hit a ball farther, jump higher, or run faster, whatever the case may be. But when you're playing a contact sport, I mean, people die in this sport, and there's no room for stuff like that in our sport. And so a lot of people are scared to speak up on it. A lot of people are scared to talk about it. A lot of people are worried to call it what it is. They call it things like accusations and alleged and stuff like that, but we got to call it what it is. If we want to start to push those things out of our sport and remove those things from our sport, then we got to call it what it is, and we got to put our foot down. And if we don't, then those type of things are going to continue. And I'm not a cheater. I don't cheat. And I take that really serious. So
fair play. I respect that. You did correct me on that, so I apologize. So he's saying that you are an easier fight for him than that of Billy Joe Saunders, and he's predicting that he stops you within 8 rounds. Do you want to respond to that, and do you have a prediction yourself?
I mean, those are just words. He's supposed to say that, So a lot of people have talked about knocking me out, what they're going to do to me, that I'm a bum or that I'm this and I'm that, and then the bell rings and it's a completely different story. So he's supposed to say that, so I take that with a grain of salt. And just like I told him at the press conference, come November 6th, he's going to find out who the real deal is.
Andre Ward, how did that sort of come about? You working with him? Or doing some work with him, yeah.
Me and Andre, we've been in contact for a while now, and he's just somebody that I can reach out to, or sometimes he reaches out to me and just checking in on me, and or if I have questions on things in the ring, out of the ring. He's been in a lot of positions and situations that I'm in now, and so it's always good to have someone who's been there before you, who's carried theirself the way that he carries himself. And I got a lot of respect for that, a lot of respect for him, and a lot of respect for what he's done in this sport. And he respects me as well, and so it's just nice to have that person that you can call on and be like, and just ask those questions, and make sure that things are going how they're supposed to go. And so then coming up for this fight, he just thought that it would be good if I came out for a couple of days and seen him and Virgil and just work on a couple of things, talk about a couple of things, and so we did it.
Do you care to discuss any of those, or like any of the things, maybe the advice he's given you?
Just boxing specifics,
Okay.
just working on this, working on that. That's about it.
Okay, fair enough. Let's talk about camp. How everything's been going for you. You were just saying, as we were talking off camera, you feel like you're in the best shape of your life. As you said, I know that a lot of people always say that, but you really do feel that you have. When we were talking about like levels, right? You're stepping up. You're facing Canelo Alvarez at the end of the day. Many consider him to be pound for pound number 1. Do you feel that's sort of what, not inspired, but really kind of made you push yourself to the next level to be able to train that way?
Well, like I said before, yeah, camp's been going great, and I do feel like that. Regardless, that I feel like every fighter says that every camp, but this is literally the best shape I've ever been in. I fought in January, February, like March. Sometime in March, I got right back to work, and I've been training ever since then. And then things would pick up because we felt like the day was going to come, and then it got pushed back, and then so I've been I'm not overtrained, but I've been working for a long time, and that's why I feel like I'm in the best shape of my career. And then as far as fighting Canelo, you train, at least me, I don't train any different for any fight. You don't become a world champion by training like a world champion. Once you become a world champion, you have to do that before you become a world champion. And so but different fighters bring different things out of you, and I feel like that he's going to bring the best out of me. He's as far as my training, I've pushed it to the max, and I'm just ready for November 6th.
I was going to ask you about that mentally going into this fight. Have you approached this differently than you have, say, any of the other fights you've had previous?
No.
Okay.
I don't approach fights differently. I put my all into every fight. I put my all into every training camp. I don't I don't train less for this fighter and train more for that fighter. I'm not more disciplined for this fighter and less for that fighter. I mean, I put my heart and my soul into every training camp. I got a lot of respect for this sport. I've been studying this sport for a long time, and I'm not going to disrespect this sport or disrespect myself or my team by training less for an opponent. You know, that's how fighters come up short, and I'm not going to get caught slipping.
What can fans expect on fight night? Why should they purchase the pay-per-view?
Well, I think the biggest reason that they should purchase this pay-per-view for any fight fan or just sports fan in general is not only are you witnessing probably the biggest fight of the year, but you're witnessing history when you buy this fight. You know, there's never been an undisputed super middleweight in the history of our sport, and come November 6th, one's going to be crowned. And so when you're tuning in, you're witnessing, you know, boxing history. And if you love this sport, then that should be important to you.
When you hear Undisputed, like, does it give you chills? Like, how does that make you feel? Because that's a big deal.
Yeah. That means a lot to me. I mean, when I first started this sport, it was, I say this all the time, I know I sound redundant, but it was a goal to become a world champion, but it wasn't the goal. Yeah. And the goal was to be one of the greatest of all time and to etch my name in those history books in a way that can't be erased. And November 6th, I mean, that's a huge, huge step in that direction. And I mean, words can't even explain how much that I want this and how far I'm willing to go to get my hand raised.
When you're in the ring, who do you fight for?
I fight for the underdog. I fight for my friends, my family. I fight for my hometown. I fight for a lot of reasons, but I think most importantly, I fight for myself, you know. And at the end of the day, when that bell rings, it's only me in there. And I've come a long ways. People who know me, they know there's been a lot of ups and downs, but you know, I haven't quit, and that's not something you're gonna see out of me. So.
Well, Caleb, I wish you all the best. It's definitely going to be one hell of a fight, and I look forward to being there media week, and hopefully we can catch up then. Do you have any final words?
November 6th, Showtime pay-per-view. Just make sure you tune in.
No prediction?
And the new Undisputed and still undefeated.
And a win, basically. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it as always, and we'll speak soon. Bye, fight fans. Hey Fight fans, it's Michelle Joy Phelps. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel by clicking this icon right here and hit the bell button below so that you can receive an alert every time we upload a new video.